In this video, I will explain the first part of the financial feasibility model, which is a very basic model that any entrepreneur should do right at the beginning of thinking a new business endeavor or idea. So this model will be very basic, so many of the details involving the operations and financial necessity of any project, which could be complex, will be ignored. So we will take only the most important aspects. For example, your company might have, let's say, 20, 30 products. For this basic model, we will only consider one, the most important one. So if you have 2 or 3 products, try to select the most significant one for you. And significance, it will be referred to of the percentage of your sales that will this product represent. So I will give this example using my t-shirts company. I sell t-shirts at 30,000 pesos, and my unit cost, because I buy them from my supplier and I resell them as retail, I buy them for 15,000 pesos is my cost. And the quantity, I will type 1,000. I didn't give this much thought, but I take into consideration that this will be annually. So in my first year, I intend to sell 1,000. I don't really care if this is exact, but I will know right after I build my first income statement if this number it would be enough for me. So I'm thinking about something 30 million pesos in income from sales on the first year, revenue from sales. But it doesn't matter there. Then I can change it because it's typed there. So the rent, this is monthly, as you notice here. I would say that my rent is actually 3 million pesos. Some expenses, I take different things in consideration and try to imagine how much of administrative expenses I will have. I come up with 1 million pesos. And salaries and administratives, I take into considerations all the necessary personnel I might need, and then I come up with let's say this is the minimum wage times 1.4, which is all the increments from Social Security, and let's say I will pay 4 minimum wages, which is 4.3 million pesos a month. So all this is monthly. I just type it here. Then selling expenses, let's say I will give to my sellers a percentage in commissions. Whenever they sell, I will give them 2% of sales as a commission to them, as an incentive. And let's say I will also sell by delivery. Let's say a percentage of my sales will be from my web page or my app, and then I will have some delivery expenses that I will need to pay. Let's say it's 2,000 pesos per unit sold. And then there is the sales salaries, which I need to consider. Let's say that I have one seller, and that seller is making actually minimum wage, increase this amount, but this person, this is seller's salary, the seller salary. This seller can sell, let's say he can sell only 1,000 shirts a year and no more. Whenever I increase by 1,000 my sales, I will need to pay an additional seller or hire an additional seller every time I start selling 1,000 more a year. So this is something that I consider in my business. Each of you considering your business idea needs to consider the capacity of sellers according to the business. So you might want to consider that depending on the processes of daily operations, and you need to make an estimation somehow of how many people or how much of this product can one person support, maintain, or operate. So I type here 1000. So it's shirts, t-shirts, a year per person, per seller. So as right now I got 1000 sales divided by my 1000 capacity per person, I actually need just one seller. So here in my sales salary, which should be a variable expense, is actually my seller salary times the number here. So as right now I only need to pay one seller, I pay 2,000 pesos per one delivery done and 2% on commissions. So what I just did here, let's try if it's correctly done. So as right now I got 1,000 of sales, let's try 2,000 sales. You see, now I need two sellers because I just increased it by 1,000 and so on. So I need to define, whenever I try to change this, let's say, oh no, I think one seller can hold 2,000 sales a year. So again, I just need one seller, and if I go up to 4,000 sales, now I here show that I need to hire two people a year, right? But this is a monthly expense, because the salary is paid monthly. I mean, it's paid every 15 days, but I consider in my income statement as a monthly payment. Operating cash is defined depending on how much do I consider I need in cash to pay salaries, I don't know, utilities, and so on. Here I don't have utilities divided, specified here, but I have administrative expenses. So I think that at least I need this 8 million pesos a month. Obviously, I will have income from my sales, but let's say that I think that 10 million pesos is a safe amount of money, so I won't default. I could be able to pay every 15 days my salaries, for example. Initial inventory, I think that in my shop I have to have, let's say, 30 million pesos right at the beginning of opening, so my store looks well equipped. Fixture and furniture, that refers to all the items that I need to show, merchandise my product. I discussed this with my partners, and then we realized that we need close to 50 million pesos, and into different plants and equipment, let's say we need some other 50 million pesos. So as if I add this amount of money, I notice that all my assets are actually 140 million pesos. So where is this money coming from? Well, I could make a loan of 70 million pesos, and I could also the investors could come out with another 70 million pesos. So all my assets should be financed with liability and stock together, should add the same amount of money. So this is what you need to specify in the parameters. First of all, the income data, so you can estimate the revenue from sales. Fixed expenses, which are all the ones you need to pay no matter how much you sell. You might sell nothing and then you have to pay this, for example, rent. There is variable expenses, which should be zero when you sell nothing, and they should increase whenever you increase your sales. Very important. And Next is the operating assets and financial data, so we can estimate a balance sheet, an initial balance sheet. And we do it in the liquidity order: first the base cash, then in inventory, and finally we estimate the liabilities and capital stock, which will finance our assets. Thank you for watching.